Right, okay, so for those of you who don't know me, my name is Sue and I run a digital marketing agency in Cambridge, and we did this rather crazy thing back in August where we came up with the idea to run remote work experience, which is an idea we came up with on the Monday morning, and 7 days later we had 20 students all eager and keen and ready to start. So what I'm going to do is share all our learnings with you, because it's not something we'd ever done before. We kind of took the plunge and just went for it, really. So got lots of things to share with you. So I'm just going to share my screen. Here we go. And I might dip in a couple of times and just check if there's any more attendees. So yeah, here we go. So this is what it looked like at the start. This is kind of what went in, if you like. So we had all of these people on these Zoom calls throughout the week, and I'll talk you through all the different activities that we did. And then we also shone a spotlight on various team members. So that's Marissa, my colleague on the right there. And this is the kind of thing that came out the other end. So as I'll explain as we go, I really wanted to make sure that people had something tangible for their portfolio at the end of it. So this is a little creative task that we set them to come up with an idea for promo that we could make for our own social media channels. And that's what one of them looked like, which is lots of fun. So what I'll do first of all is set the scene and just give you a bit of an overview about why we did this, and a bit of context for the whole event, what we did before to make sure we had lots of people signing up, our mix of activities during the week, all those things, nice mix of online, not offline, to make sure that people stayed engaged throughout the whole process. And then a few ideas on the follow-up as well. So I didn't want to just leave people hanging high and dry. I didn't want to just press end call at 5:30 on a Friday. I wanted to make sure there was a bit of follow-up as well. And then at the end, you can ask me any questions that you've got. And we've also got this really simple mechanism. If you go to suekeogh.com/chat, then my diary's open all the way through Monday. So you can just book in any time, and I'm happy to talk through anything in more detail. So first thing that I'm going to ask, I just want to see who out of any of the people here might have done something similar to this before. So yeah, just tell me in this little poll, nice easy poll, have you hosted remote work experience yourself? So maybe you're a total pro, you've done this 1,000 times, maybe you're considering it, particularly in the light of all the crazy stuff that's been happening this year, or maybe it's a totally new idea, and as with the title of this talk, you just want to steal all my ideas, take them away and apply them in your own organisation, which couldn't make me happier, to be honest. Okay, so no one's a total pro. Oh no, someone's just clicked that one. Here we go. I'll give it a few more seconds. Okay, so we've got someone here who's a total pro, so I can be learning from, I can be stealing all your ideas. We've got a few people that are thinking about it, and then for others, it's a totally new idea. So yeah, like I say, it was something that was quite new to us, even though we'd hosted work experience before. So we learned ever so much along the way. So let me just stop that. Okay. So to set the scene, I am quite frustrated with all the challenges facing younger people at the moment. So if they're not having various opportunities taken away from them, they're being accused of being a snowflake or single-handedly causing the spread of the COVID pandemic. And, you know, I just find this very frustrating. And then, of course, when the A-level results came out, that was a complete fiasco. And it just drives me a little bit insane. I've got two boys aged 13 and 15, so not quite at the A-levels age yet, but I also feel it quite deeply, the sort of challenges that the younger age group is facing. And then just completely separate to this, I also had this girl that was really keen to join us for work experience. And what with 2020 being as it is, the Sue Keogh team has been amazing, you know, really been pulling together against all these problems that we're facing, but we're all working remotely. So it's very difficult to do the sort of traditional work experience where you get someone in the office, because most of the time we're not actually here. So I was starting to think, well, maybe there's something we could do. You know, maybe she could drop in on the odd meeting that we've got, or I could set her a few challenges. You know, what could we do here? And then, of course, I thought, well, by the time we help her to do some of this, we're helping one person. But then it's so easy with Zoom and all these video calls. Why don't we amplify that? And actually, we could help quite a few people. So we could expand it, we could magnify it, and by the time you put in all that effort and planning to help one person, we could have as many as we wanted. And then, of course, that put that together with my frustration around the younger generation, and I thought, all right, well, I'm going to do this. And I came up with the plan for two ideas. One aimed at kind of more graduate level, and then something which I'm hoping to do with this amazing Cambridgeshire organisation called Form the Future, who act as a kind of a bridge between schools and business, and do something targeted more to sort of GCSE level. So just in case, there's probably a load of things around safeguarding that I haven't considered, and I want to make sure that it fits in with the curriculum as well. So for the younger age group, I think it's going to take more thought and more structure. But graduate level, you know, they're used to working independently, they're a bit more free with their time. And I just thought, right, that's it, we're going for it. So that's how it came about. So that was on a Monday morning. I explained it to the team. They said, yeah, brilliant, we'll do it. And then, yeah, this is a photo I took 9 o'clock the next morning, the next Monday, all these people looking at us and waiting for it to begin. So we had 20 students across the week. 17 members got involved with little career spotlights and other ways they helped out. It took place across 5 days, 17 Zoom calls. Love a bit of Zoom. 8 creative briefs. So these were real world challenges that we set the students. So some of them were very writing focused, some of them were very analytical, some of them were around very visual sort of tasks. We had 4 training sessions as well. So I run quite a few workshops myself. So I thought it might be quite useful to train them how to blog or how to boost their LinkedIn profile, that kind of thing. And then out the other end came 5 blog posts that we posted on our own website. And I'm very protective of our content, so I don't let any old rubbish go on there. As people who get quite short and blunt emails from me, you know, trying to send us spammy content will testify. So they got proper feedback on the posts that they wrote, advice, guidance, and then we published them when we knew they were of a standard. But to be fair, what they wrote from the outset was really good anyway, so it didn't need a lot of tweaking. One ident, so a nice little animation that came from a creative idea one of the students had. And this is a work in progress, which I'll show you in a sec. And this is going to go at the end of all of our video content for now. So something really tangible and solid for the portfolio. So that it means that when people go to interviews, they can not just say, yeah, I went to this digital marketing agency for work experience. They can say, here's a link to something that was produced as a result. So really, really helpful, really valuable. There were other creative promos as well. We set this task so they could pitch ideas to us, and then we've turned these into ideas for Instagram. There's one in the works for LinkedIn as well. So again, really productive stuff. And then mentoring sessions as well. So there's a girl that I'm going to continue mentoring every 3 months or so. I introduced her to various people in the industry who I thought might be useful. I had a few more kind of one-to-one sessions. And then out of this, one of the blokes I spoke to, and I'm not taking credit at all, but he's got a job already. So that to me, you know, it's a really, really good outcome. You know, we made sure it was practical, helpful experience and not just something that would be a line in their CV. So yeah, one of the core goals, and I think it's important if you do this yourselves to set some clear goals, is to offer real world experience. So not just a warm fuzzy glow. If I think back to my own work experience years ago, I went to the law courts in Northampton and I was thinking, well, this is exciting, isn't it? And I spent most of the week, excuse me, I spent most of the week just filing, you know, just this massive folder full of all these legal documents. And I was just putting pieces of paper in a massive folder for most of the week in a slightly more interesting environment, but still it didn't give me a, you know, massive kind of insight into how it all works. So I wanted to give people real world experience, you know, real life briefs, like the sort of things that clients give us. And I wanted to be able to increase employability. And then create something for their portfolios as well. So as I was saying, a blog post they could link to, an Instagram, something on Instagram Reels that they could share. Even when we got them to pitch ideas to us, we recorded it, just in case that might be useful as well. So anything kind of tangible, really solid, that they could actually show people as a result, not just a warm fuzzy glow of having just wandered around shadowing people. And then another thing I have in my bee in my bonnet about is the inequality in the industry. So unpaid internships just wind me up so much. You know, it's just so unfair that some people get more opportunities for experience than others purely because their parents can afford to pay their rent while they're doing it. And I also think it's nuts for employers to reduce your pool of talent only to the people that can afford to come and work for you for free. So there's all sorts of things like that at entry level into the industry, which I think are unbalanced. And so one of the joys of doing it over Zoom is that we can open it up. And I was really, really hoping there might be people that could get involved in this who might not have access in other ways. And also, I mean, our business, we're over an old bank. And so it's quite an old building. There's a metal staircase to get up to the first floor. So if people have got access needs, then that's an issue. Things around visual impairment. There was one of the people on the week had problems with hearing as well. But because we did it in this way, it opened it up in a whole different way than we could have done previously. So it wasn't just about numbers. It was also, to me, very much about opening it up and making it more accessible to people who wouldn't get that opportunity. So that's a bit of context for you. And now I'll run you through what we did before. Spoiler, we only had 7 days, so probably not enough. And then I'll talk you through what we did during the kind of activities and then what we did as a follow-up as well. So the first thing that we did, and I'd recommend highly, you need a central point of information. So I wrote a blog post saying, this is what is going to be involved, this is what it's about, kind of setting the scene, giving people context. And then that means it'll help you cut down on the admin. So you can keep on pointing people to the central point of information. So for us, it was a blog post. For you, it might be an Eventbrite page if you've got lots of applicants. It might be a whole section on your website in the kind of recruitment section, depending on your kind of business. But you definitely need some central point of information that you can share on social media channels and point people to all the way through. Once I had that, I then put out a post on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn always kind of truncates the message. So I made sure it was something that was really clear in the opening sentence. And in this LinkedIn post, I made it super clear what the event was about and who was in and who was out, if you like. So I was very clear, you know, anyone who sees themselves in an underrepresented group, yep, please, you know, come and join us. I also said that if you've got loads of experience in this area, it's not really for you. And equally, if you're on the younger end, it's also not for you. This isn't to say that I won't be doing things later, but my experience with running workshops is that the more kind of close in skills and experience you keep the people in the room, the better it is for everybody. Because otherwise you get someone who's got all the experience, they know everything and they dominate. And then you've got people that are feeling a bit kind of, I'm a bit new here. They don't want to ask any questions because they feel intimidated. So one thing I would definitely do again, is take the similar approach and really set it out clearly at the beginning. This is who it's for, and maybe it's not for you if you're in this or that group. So shared that. Lots of people tagged people who they thought would be would get something out of the experience. A lot of these people tagged on the right, they all came along. 5,000 views of that post, so that went really well. Twitter did even better, 10,000 views, so that was great. So I put the similar post out on Twitter. And because I'm mindful of accessibility, then I did paste in a screenshot of the LinkedIn post, but then I also threaded it underneath and I put in text there just to make sure it's even more easy for people to access. So as a result of that, we got loads of people signing up. Such is the power of social media. And of course, this was only in 7 days. So if we do it again, we'd do it over a much longer lead-in period. And also to make sure the people that were attending could come to every part of the event. So we did have a couple of people who already had job interviews, you know, so of course they had to break off from what we're doing to go and do that. So, you know, with a bit more of a lead-in time, I think we'd stick at August, but I think we'd give people more warning. And then still in getting people prepared, I put together a little welcome pack. So I said, this is what it's all about. This is who we are. These are the kind of people that you'll meet during the week. Please familiarise yourselves in advance. I also included some consent information. So around, you know, using your email address for communications purposes. I also made it quite clear that we'd be taking a few screen grabs, recording a few elements, and we'd use that in our own marketing. Not in a very kind of cynical way, but just we were really enthused by the whole week, me and the whole team. So we really enjoyed sharing during the week. So I just wanted to get consent from people beforehand. So my learning points here. So before the event, set clear objectives. So I knew what my objectives were, but I wanted to make sure that everyone in the team knew as well. So we're all kind of going in the same direction. And then also that the people who are going to be involved, they knew what the objectives were as well. So it's all about managing expectations. Defining who's in and who's out. So that also helped in that I didn't have to spend loads of time replying to emails saying, oh, you know, sorry, oh, I don't think this is quite for you. And I'm a bit of a softie really, and I always get into long email threads about this kind of thing. So it's much easier for me to actually say quite clearly from the beginning, yep, this is who it's for, this is who it's not for. Getting on top of the paperwork early, I think I'll give us 10 out of 10 for the creative concept. Execution, probably around an 8 or 9. And the actual paperwork side, the admin, I think a 5. You know, there's definitely room for improvement there. I had a spreadsheet which I started to compile. There was one point when I tried to send out an email to everybody in one go, and there was someone that had joined very late in the day, like the day before the whole event, and she wasn't on my spreadsheet, and then she didn't get the link, you know, all of that kind of stuff, which next time I would definitely get better at. So my advice to you is get better. Don't go into it with no planning like me. Clearing the diary. So I merrily thought, okay, we're doing a thing at 9, we're doing a thing at 1, we're doing a thing at 4. So I'll just do my work around that. And then as it was, I was so focused on the whole event, and I was hosting the whole thing with different team members at different points, but I was hosting the whole thing for continuity. I couldn't really focus in between. I couldn't really concentrate. So I did lots of kind of short bitty tasks, but anything that needed more time, like a big proposal that we had to get together, I was just working in the evening. So all week I was kind of, and I was getting to the office as well. So I was kind of starting at 7, finishing gone 11 every night, and then getting up every day and doing it again. So, which is fine. And I was full of adrenaline and I was really buzzing throughout the whole thing because it's really great. But the following week I was shattered. So, you know, manage your own expectations. If you put something on like this, it is quite ambitious and it will take time. So, you know, really think in advance about how you'll manage your other commitments around it. And then the other thing, and again, based on my experience from workshops, training, running events, you cannot share the basic information enough times. So don't just put the Zoom link in one document that goes out that you send 3 weeks before. You know, you want to have a shared Google Calendar. You want to tell people this is the link in every single email. You want to message people. You just want to, you cannot tell people enough all those basic details about how to join, because what you don't want, a bit like in any live event, you don't want to have people that have to sort of turn up late and then, oh, excuse me, or, you know, oh, has it started, sorry. And equally, even if it's just a Zoom call, people still feel a bit awkward about joining late. So, you know, so you want to make sure that you share that contact information really frequently. So that's what we did before. And then, of course, during the week, you'll want to know about the kind of activities that we had as well that kept people engaged. So this is our lovely cohort of merry boot campers again. So we had a rough timetable that ran from Monday to Thursday and then slightly different on Friday. So every day 9 o'clock, we had our daily meeting, like we have among the team anyway. So they kind of shadowed and got to hear what we were talking about. And then we had a spotlight on a different member of the team. So this is my colleague, Clark. And so he's our digital strategist. So I asked him, well, what's a typical day look like? How did you get into this gig in the first place? What sort of challenges do you have to overcome? And then he was open to questions as well. So that was a really good way for us to say these are all the different roles in a marketing agency. So we've got a copywriter, we've got strategy, we've got video, but then of course sales and admin are really important as well. So I really wanted to take people behind the scenes. And then 1 o'clock, we did the same again, or I ran a training session. And then in between, we ran these creative briefs. So one of them that you could do right now, they were either quite in depth. So one of them was very analytical. So look at this campaign for Nike or Visit Iceland and analyze it, think about what went into it. And then we extended that and I asked people to look at the engagement. So how did it do on YouTube, for example? What was the social media reaction? And then the next day when we focus on copywriting, then the idea was that they had to write a blog on it as well. So some of them were more in depth like that. And I made sure that they showcased different sort of specialist areas so that everybody by the end of the week would have done something that they felt they did well, rather than making the whole week very visual or very focused on writing. So one of them though is very quick. So you might want to do this now. So don't move from your seat, but just reach out and find the most boring thing you can find within arm's length. And then you need to turn it into something interesting. So for me right now, it's this spoon. This is the most boring thing I can see within arm's length. And then they had to turn it into something interesting, which is something that we have to do all the time. You know, we work with quite sensible B2B businesses a lot of the time. And we're always thinking, well, what's the angle? How can we make this interesting? So some of them were really sort of quick and dirty challenges, and some of them took a lot more thought. And then at the end of the day, we had a catch up. So yeah, some of them were plan a social media campaign. Another one was about pitching and winning work. And then ones were around creating an idea for a promo that we would make. So like what I showed you at the beginning with the little stop motion animation. And then those little fairy lights, that was a result of the take something within arm's reach, make something interesting from it. So although to be fair, I think she had a head start with fairy lights because they're quite interesting anyway. So yeah, it was this kind of mix. So it's online and offline. I was very clear that I didn't want people to have to sit and watch us on Zoom all day because it's really boring for them. It's a bit weird for us. You don't want to feel like you're in the Truman Show being watched all day long. And that was really effective. On a Friday, we did it slightly different. So this is my friend Kelly. She runs another digital agency. And so between us, we did this kind of CV clinic where we spoke about what impresses us on CVs, what we want to see in a covering letter, and how people can really shine in interviews. Then I did another training session. At 3:30, we announced the winners of all these creative pitches we'd been running. And then at 4:30, we had happy hour. So that was a really nice way to round off the week. And then because I was never sure from the outset, and you know, you're never really sure until you start these things, whether these tasks we set would fill the time or not, I also created this read, watch, listen list and asked everybody to do 3 things off the list every day. So it might be listen to a podcast, it might be watch a YouTube video. I also host this thing called Sue Keogh School, which is online courses in digital marketing. So we gave them free access to that. And I thought, okay, well, you could watch a course on how to write a press release. I don't mind, as long as you're learning all the way through. And then it meant that people weren't just sat there in front of the computer. Sometimes they could go for a walk and listen to a podcast. So this was great. And then this helped fill any gaps. But as it turned out, in the feedback afterwards, a lot of people said, no, we had enough to do. But the lovely thing about this is that it's extended it. So some people they've subscribed to the podcasts now, they've bought some of the books. So it's managed to extend the learning. So again, it's helped add to this kind of feeling that it's really valuable. This is me. And I did these little videos every morning. See if this works. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to day 3 of Agency Bootcamp. So we've looked at what an agency actually is on Monday. We've thought about strategy. Yesterday was all about words, copywriting, blogging, that kind of thing. And today we're going to focus a lot more on sales, social media, how you get yourself out there and encourage lots of lovely engagement for your own business and for clients. So I'll be joined shortly by Marissa. We're going to talk through plans for the day and then we'll kick off. Fun, fun, fun. Okay, bye. So I don't know why I said everything in threes in that one, but it's always weird when you see yourself on screen. But I did that every morning. The first morning I was just really excited and I felt like doing a piece to camera. And we shared that on Twitter and we put it on our Instagram as well. So it was a nice way of kind of bringing the outside in as well, and also getting the students started kind of set up for the day. This is one of the creative pictures that they did. And this student, she had a nice idea to take our logo and have kind of faces peering out. But while she was talking, I started to think, oh, you know what? I really love the Sue Keogh O's. Perhaps we could do something else with them. So what we've actually done there, we're transforming it into a little ident, which we can put across all of our video content. So it looks like this at the moment. It's a work in progress. So this is nearly done. But yeah, so this will be going live and all of our new video content very shortly. Our animator is busy animating stuff with dinosaurs at the moment, and I keep on having to pull him away from it. So during the week, my recommendations are: set the scene on day one. So another thing I'm mindful of is the impact of programs like The Apprentice, which I think, I mean, I love The Apprentice, but I think it presents the world of work like this place where you have to sharpen your elbows and it's very competitive and there's lots of backstabbing. Whereas in my experience, I've got loads of friends and allies in the industry and we recommend clients to each other, we share ideas, we talk about challenges all the time. And I didn't want people to come in and think, right, I've got to make my mark. I need to shout louder than everybody else. I made it really clear from day one that this is going to be a very collaborative environment where you'll be listened to, you can share ideas, no one's going to be shouted down. So I made that really clear from the beginning and just help set the scene. Helping people get to know each other. So it was one thing I think I'd do slightly differently next time. So I think because I was mindful that I didn't want to just put people in groups where someone might dominate, and because it's not a normal workshop scenario where I'm in the room and I can kind of wander around and really see the dynamic, I made sure that all the tasks were things that people could do individually. But when people did the feedback at the end of the process, a couple of people did say, actually, it would have been nice to work in pairs or work in groups. So I think next time I will do more of an icebreaker challenge at the beginning. And then as the week goes on, then a few things in pairs and a few things in groups. But I'll make sure I understand the dynamic a bit more first, rather than set people up from the get-go. And then, of course, planning for Zoom fatigue. You know, like I say, no one wants to sit on Zoom for, 24/7. So there was a mix of online and offline activities, things that didn't involve looking at the screen. And then I also mixed up the format. So some of them were very much focused on analysis and looking at numbers. Sometimes it was around writing, sometimes it was around visual stuff. And in some of the creative pictures, people filmed themselves. They did little stop motion animation. Some people did it on a notepad. I didn't mind. My aim really was to set people up to win, so that at the end of it, everyone would come out of it feeling like they'd done something well, or they'd done something right, or they'd discovered something about, oh, that's what a copywriter is, or, oh, do you know what? I think the route for me might actually be sales. So I wanted it to open a window, if you like, on the sort of things that we do and not leave anyone feeling disheartened. The read, watch, listen list worked really well. And in fact, I have shared that around a few people afterwards as well. Some people who really want to give their kids work experience have kind of messaged me privately on Twitter and said, oh, this would be really useful. Would you mind sharing? So of course I don't mind sharing, steal all of that, steal my documents, steal my ideas. I don't care. I just want to find my own little way in my own little corner of the world to make things a little bit better. It's starting to sound a bit soppy. And then lastly, give people something tangible for their portfolio. A warm, fuzzy glow is not going to get anyone a job. what is going to get them jobs is evidence that they have skills and experience in their chosen sector. So lastly, before I go over to questions, after the event, don't forget to follow up as well. So one of the things we did was created a feedback form on the website, and we just asked some very simple questions about what people got out of the experience and how they found the activities, and maybe a few tips for us for next time. So we got some lovely comments, which is so nice. And of course, I shared these with the team, made sure that everybody got to see the comments that were coming in. People loved the tasks. They gave us some constructive feedback as well, all about collaboration, you know, in those opportunities to get to know each other. People said some things like, yeah, it's been a bit of a depressing year and they've left college and they've spent months trying to find work and they're starting to feel a bit sort of disheartened, but then they came to our thing and it was a bit better. So that was really nice. And they told us what they enjoyed. So that was great. And some people sent a follow-up thank you. Good manners are really important to me. And so anyone that sent a little private email to say thank you was an extra kind of gold star in my estimation. But I also thank them and I thank the team because everybody had put in a lot of effort to make this work. So it's really important that everyone felt appreciated. So, you know, just thanks all round really. And then my next thing was to write a blog post with my experiences from the whole week, because, you know, I learned a lot and I just wanted to map it out so that we had something to share that might be useful to other people, which is kind of how I came to do this talk today, because digital leaders said, do you want to do a talk? And I was thinking, what could I talk about? And then, ta-da, I thought it might be useful to share some thoughts from this. We also published blog posts on our own blog. So the 4 to the right-hand side were all as a result of one of the creative briefs. So we went through, tidied them up, gave them the feedback, and then we published. And then the one about Spotify was the winner of the challenge to pitch an idea for our blog. So they had to look at the kind of content we do already and then come up with ideas. And that was brilliant. It's a topic we hadn't covered before, but also in keeping with our target audience. So yeah, wonderful, really well written. This is what one of them looked like, worth a read. So my tips are, after the event, yeah, definitely ask for feedback. Don't sit there slapping yourself on the back saying, oh, that went well. There's always going to be something that you can learn for next time. Say thank you. Like I say, good manners never go out of fashion. Writing a blog post with your thoughts, or if you work in a really large organisation, maybe ask other people to do that. Find a way of showcasing people's work. Tell them about it as well. So, you know, I emailed everyone to say, right, we've just put your blog post live. We shared them on LinkedIn and tagged them as well. So yeah, they've done that work for you. So showcase it, make a noise. And then long term, we do want to keep in touch with these people and offer them a bit of career support. So what might be a 30-second introduction from you, which might not, you might think, well, why is this guy important? Actually, to this person entering the industry, that could be like gold, you know, that could really open a few doors for them. So think what you can do as well beyond this to support them. And then I'll throw it open to questions as well. So just quickly, if you want to read all about how we did it, then just go to the suekeogh.com/blog page. I'm a big believer in short domains and short URLs. Book a chat with me, talk to me on Monday afternoon. So just go to suekeogh.com/chat and you can talk to me about anything about how we did it or anything else to do with digital marketing. And then this is our website as well with our happy robot. He's going to get a makeover actually in time for Christmas. So let me stop sharing my screen and see if anyone's got any questions from the people that are here. Katie believes in short URLs as well. Anne, do you want to unmute yourself? If I could try and unmute you.
Yeah, I've done it. I've unmuted myself. I'm not going to turn my camera on because I'm well overdue a haircut. So yeah, I have to just live with this. But yeah, my question really was, you know, Sue, you are obviously really committed to this and you've obviously put a huge amount of your own effort into it. But, you know, this might be off-putting to other organizations who think, oh my gosh, it has to be the CEO who organizes everything. Do you think this is something that could be picked up by a different member of the team and reflecting on the scope of the project? Is there a specific skill set or a role profile that you can think of who would be well placed to work on something like this? And also, what would they gain and learn from the experience?
I think that that's a really, really good question, because yeah, one of the things I found was that it did take up my whole week. And even though I'd planned it so that we sort of spread the load between everybody, actually, as soon as I got stuck in, I realized, no, I wanted to be this sort of continuous voice throughout the whole thing to pull it together. But so it's a great idea to get someone else to do that continuity role. And actually, if there's someone in the organization that is already good at organizing events, I would hone in on them, because there's quite a lot of logistics around it, and they'll have that kind of expectation that you know what, this is actually going to take quite a bit of organizing. So I would hone in on someone like that, someone who's really strong on communication as it is, and is going to sort of have that sensitivity and that sort of sensible mindset around knowing, okay, I'm going to need to remind people of the Zoom link. I'm going to need to do lots of communication. So I would go for that person first of all, and maybe a full week is actually quite a lot. You know, maybe to start just with one day of quite intensive activities can be quite good, and you could set some of the offline activities a couple of days before, and then talk them through on the day. So maybe a week might feel quite ambitious, and particularly, I mean, 2020 is weird, isn't it? You know, sometimes some businesses I know are going through real peaks and troughs with the workload, so a whole week might feel like too much. My son is actually doing work experience over the weekend, so that's 2 days. And so yeah, so that's taking place over a weekend rather than during the week. So maybe to start off a bit smaller and then build it up from there would also work. And then the second part of your question, I think it's a really good way for someone within the organisation to get experience, like you say, and particularly if it's someone that's good at organising events. So many events have been cancelled now, and you've got these brilliant events organisers sat there thinking, well, what happened to that champagne reception that I was meant to be organising? So to get them stuck in on something like this would actually be really good for their CV as well. So that's a good question, Anne. I hadn't thought of that. That's another benefit. Okay, anyone else got other questions? Or another one from Anne, I don't mind. Far away. Oh, great answer. Thank you, Anne. What about Anna? Have you got any questions? I don't mind if there aren't any, because it's going to be a shortish session and then time for any questions after. So like I say, it's all on the blog if anybody wants to read the post there. It's quite easy to find. I think we could move it up into the top spot today as well, so it's even more easy to find. And like I say, if anyone wants to book a chat with me and find out more, then just go to suekeogh.com/chat. I'm on social media all day long, probably more frequently than I should be. So you can connect with me on LinkedIn as well, or join me on Twitter. And so, yeah, I think we can wrap that up unless anyone's got anything else they want to just throw into the mix. Yeah, okay. Well, enjoy the remainder of Digital Leaders Week. There's still a few more really great looking events that you can book onto for the rest of the day. And thank you for coming along, and have a great weekend. Okay, bye.